just now. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do, I'll go through a few pointers of doing an online holiday club. I'll then give a little guide on timings of what you could do, and then we can just have a little bit of a discussion if there's questions and things like that. But I thought I'd start just with a few pointers to kind of get us going of what makes a good online holiday club and how you might be able to do it, and then we'll see kind of what comes from that. So let me just share this. Okay, so a few pointers just to go through, and starting off with safe practice, and here are some points under safe practice, and really saying that a holiday club online follows the exact same procedures that an offline would. So if you were to run a holiday club in a physical setting, you'll be following the exact same things. If you were to have under 13s there, which obviously for a holiday club would be the majority, to have an adult in the room at the home, or at least close by for safeguarding purposes would be important. Ratios being the same. So again, if you have enough children that you could run different groups as you would do in a standard holiday club, and you wanted to split them up into breakout rooms on Zoom, perhaps, then you would want to have at least 2 adults in each of those groups, so you're not having 1 adult in an online room with children. So exactly the same principle that would be for a physical setting. Doing things, and some of these are obviously all obvious, but it's important just to state them anyway, of recording attendance, having 2 adults online before any children enter, and having at least 2 adults there at the very end, and doing all the things like permission forms, etc. So that kind of covers in the safer recruitment, making sure it's people that you know that are going to do it, which are obvious things there. The next 2, looking at guidelines for those that are involved in helping, and then guidelines actually for the parents is also really important. And again, some of these are really obvious, but the team instructing people on what to wear when they're on Zoom, making sure they're not in their pajamas, things like that could happen, and people might not think of that as being an issue, but it's having that same professionalism that you would have if you're having a physical holiday club. You wouldn't be turning up in pajamas, and the setting, especially for the leaders as well, making sure it's either in a living room or a bright room. It's not someone filming themselves in a bedroom, all the kind of obvious stuff that would go with that. What would also really important is giving guidelines for parents so that they actually know what's going to be happening on an online holiday club, because maybe for yourselves you'd feel the same. You actually don't know how that would operate, how that would work, and parents would feel exactly the same. So actually putting something together of what the plan is, what's expected, what's going to happen, how they get in contact with you if they've got any concerns, a run through of the actual holiday club itself. You'd be best to give that to them as well, send that out to them so that they have a good idea of how things are going to work. Keeping it short's really important. That from those that I've spoken to, ideally you have it for between 30 and 60 minutes a day, which is obviously far shorter than you would have in a normal holiday club, whether it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. But in terms of doing something online, it's really not worth doing anything longer than that if you want to keep the attention and keep people focused and energized. So along with that, keeping each item short. So if you're going to show a song, you're going to do a story, whatever it might be, a discussion, the craft, keeping that short, because you're wanting obviously to fit that into the time, but not doing things that are overly complicated. So there will be some things that you'll lose that you would normally do when you're doing an offline holiday club. But what it is, it's about finding the essential things that you think are important to what your holiday club is. If it's the craft, if it's the Bible story, if it's just simply having fun, making sure those things are the essential things that you keep in. Having a variety of different items that move quickly from one thing to the next. And that would include presenters if you can, having more than just yourself doing it, just to mix it up and keep it fresh. Planning it carefully, that seems obvious, but within the strict time limit, knowing exactly what you're doing and when you're moving from one thing to the other is really important. And you might not be in a habit of scripting what you're doing, but again, that's probably really important when it comes to timings, so that everyone knows exactly what's happening. Another key thing that would happen at a lot of holiday clubs is that children might go home and then they might send in jokes or pictures, and you might have like a box in church, what you would normally have, and so people bring the things that they've done to show off. And it's great to try and keep that form of interactivity on an online holiday club as well. So giving children the challenge of sending stuff in by a certain time, and if you're going to do it for more than one day, then the following day you show some of the examples of what they've done. So it might be that they finish off the craft, they take a photo of it, and then they email that in. So using a church email address, try not to obviously use a personal email address, but so they can send in jokes or pictures that they've drawn, taken photos of them, sending in, and it just keeps that interaction going, because it can very easily become them just watching. And you don't want it to be that, because that loses some of what a holiday club offers. And so trying to have as much interaction as you can, and that's a really great way of doing it. Creating the resource pack that actually goes out, and so whether that includes the craft materials, and I know some churches obviously are doing that, where they're handing out craft bags and other things like that. But if you're going to do a craft, then make sure that you actually take that to the house, or leave it in a place where they can come and get it. Not expecting parents to have the paper and the pens and everything else that might be needed, because as a parent, I know particularly during this time, there's lots of things you're having to do, lots of different ideas, and so to have actually a bag of, here's the stuff that you're going to need for the holiday club, that might include scissors, pens, and whatever, but having all those things so that a parent or carer can actually just open it up and say, everything's there. I don't now have to go hunting around the house to find stuff that's going to happen. I know my children have been doing their Beavers group and their Scouts group online, and kind of nothing has frustrated me more when it's come to like the night before and you get an email to say, oh, we're going to do cake in a cup, so you need these items. And that's just really, normally that would be fine, you can pop to the shop quite easily, but things are obviously much more of a hassle. And so for a parent carer to know everything's there, I've got it, is just great. If you're going to do a song, whether that's around doing a dance or showing something, making sure that you have the right licenses to actually be able to show that online, even if it's on a private link. If you were going to upload something to YouTube, you would need the CCLI streaming license, and you would also need a PRS limited online music license. So again, it's just making sure that you have the right things. And I know for a lot of churches who have been doing services online, then we'll probably have these things. But if you haven't, to be aware, those are things you would definitely need if you're wanting to play a song. So here's a rough template of an hour's holiday club that I think that you could run. So obviously having the leaders arriving before, explaining how it's going to work. And if you're expecting to have more than 6 or 7 children, and you're going to need to maybe split them into 2 breakout rooms on Zoom, again, making sure that you have 2 adults and put those adults into the breakout rooms so that they're there. So from 9:55 to 10:05, say children would be coming onto Zoom, there'd be a person there to welcome them, to let them know what's happening, and then put them into their breakout room where the leaders already are. If you're working with a smaller number, then you can obviously all stay together, but it just makes everything flow much better if you've got the room set up and you can put the people in. When it comes to the tech side of things, if people need support and help with that, the URC have produced a whole load of booklets on how to use Zoom in breakout rooms, which I'll post a link in the chat once I've finished this, so that you've got it. But as well, if the holiday club's at a time when I'm available, then I'm more than happy to help with the tech when it comes to the Zoom and stuff. I've done that for a lot of groups now, so I'm fairly familiar with Zoom and how things operate. So you'd put the children into their breakout rooms and have probably about 10 minutes in those groups, just getting to know one another, maybe playing a game. There's loads of different Zoom games that you can play. And again, I can put a link up to the URC, because they've put loads of different ideas of things that you can do on Zoom, really creative things you can do on there. From 10:15 to 10:30, those 15 minutes really being the main content of the holiday club. Now, from my experience, what is best is if you're going to do a story or kind of a dance and that kind of thing, to record that beforehand, rather than trying to do that live and things going wrong. It would be best to record it. And so if you can upload that then to a private link on YouTube, if the church or yourself don't have a YouTube link, we can upload it onto the Mersey Synod YouTube page and just keep it on a private link. And what you can then do is, in the chat feature on Zoom, is put the link to the YouTube clip and encourage the children, okay, go and watch this. And that's why a parent being there is helpful to this, so that they can then watch it and then come back. Now, you could choose to show the video actually in Zoom, but I find that showing videos in Zoom can be good, but sometimes it can be, the picture can be quite choppy. The sound also can't be great either. So the ideal thing is to put the link where they can just click on it, go to the YouTube, you mute everybody so you can't hear them watching it. And then once they finish, they then come back onto Zoom. So it means they're still having that shared experience of all watching something at the exact same time. And then you come back and then you have, if you're going to discuss the story a little bit, some of the key points from it, you can do that again for no more than 10 minutes at the very most on that. Moving on to the craft, and really all you can do within those 10 minutes is probably to demonstrate it basically of things you would need, what you're looking to create, get the children to start it. But then the challenge for them is obviously once the holiday club finishes that day, for them to continue it, finish it, and then take a picture and then email it to you so that you can then show the pictures the following day of the things that they've done. So you're not really going to get to finish the craft with them. And so again, keeping the craft maybe simpler than you might do at a normal holiday club, so that they can finish that on their own or with the parent. Having a very short goodbye. If you want then, if you've got, again, more than one group, bringing them all together for the goodbye so they can see everybody. And then as they leave, making sure again that there's two adults just staying there before all the children are gone, and then have a little bit of a debrief. So those are just a few thoughts that I'd had, some ideas and things like that. And so kind of what I wanted to do is really open it up. If people have questions, comments, thoughts that they're thinking of, or things that they want to ask about, if any of that's helpful. If not, then I thought we could maybe just have a short time just now, just hearing what people think of the opportunity of maybe running something like that in their own church. So would anyone like to say anything just now?
I have a page of questions.
Okay, yeah.
that I've been whittling away while you've been doing it. The resource pack, that's fine. So if you were doing it over 3 days, you'd give them a pack with 3 days worth of crafting, or would you give them a craft a day? What would you do? Would you do all 3 in one?
I would say that's probably, if it's really up to us. If you're happy going around every day, right, having to give that stuff out, then fair enough. But I would say probably the easiest thing is giving that all in one, marking it clearly what's
day 1, day 2, day 3 sort of thing.
Is probably the easiest option, rather than having to go out every day after doing the holiday club. Because even for doing it for an hour, you'll probably feel quite tired after. Yes. It's quite an intense hour that you're doing. There's not those breaks you would normally have in a holiday club. It's a fairly intense hour. So I'm sure the last thing you'd be wanting to do is then pack up the next,
and then go out and do it again.
And go out and hand them out.
Right. I just didn't know whether it was expected that it'll be all together, or whether it's expected that you do them a day at a time?
No, it would be completely up to yourself, but I would say giving them all at once, but making it clear what's day one,
Okay.
day two, and whatever days you're going to do for it.
Next on my list.
Okay.
The CCLI and the PRS, what is the difference between the CCLI license and a PRS license?
That's that's a good one. Of them I think is more just playing music in general, and one is specific to being on a streaming service.
Because I think we have the PRS license already. I don't think we have the CCLI one.
Okay.
And I was wondering, if there's not that much difference, do we need to pay out for a CCLI, or could we do it all under the existing?
From what I've been aware of, experience of, because the children youth workers in the URC, we put together a Pentecost service for Pentecost, and I know that we needed both of those licenses to be able to have a song playing during the video, so to have the words coming up and to have the music for it. So the backing track we needed.
Yeah, we've just purchased the CCLI. Like, we have the RS whatever license, but we've just purchased the CCLI because Tim had started making videos to stream out and to the congregation. So I think that's sort of recommended if you're having videos and
right.
Yeah.
Because I have asked other churches, said, what, because I don't know anything about this. What one of you used? How did you find it? Blah, 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 blah. And I would say, in all honesty, I'd say 99% of them came back and said, "Oh, just play it quietly. No one will ever know."
No.
Okay.
From my understanding,
which was no help whatsoever. Sorry.
From my understanding, I used to be a music teacher before I came into this. The PRS, the Performing Rights Society, covers anything that you play to people. Whereas the difference, so for instance, if I use a song in assembly, I also have to have a CCLI license, because that covers the use of the lyrics, and then of course ensures that adequate rights go to the people who've written those, as well as the people who've written their music. So one covers more performance, whereas the other is actually using the material that's been written by the artist, if you see what I mean.
Right. So if I plucked something off of YouTube and shoved it in a service, I'd have to have a CCLI. Is that the CCLI one?
It's like Stephen said, it is recommended to have both, particularly if you're using the words as well. So like one is just as a performance. So if you have a coffee morning, you need a PRS license. But if you're actually using the music yourselves, then you need the CCLI as well.
Right.
That's my understanding anyway.
Right. Thank you. That's it. I'm done.
Thanks, Alison. Well, I've posted just in the chat the link to the information guides around Zoom, which are really helpful as a good introduction. And as I've said, if you need help and support with the tech stuff, I'm more than happy. So obviously, if you're doing it with the children, you can put the link in the chat. They can then click on it, and that'll just open up. If you're putting something up onto YouTube, that will be an easy click. Any other questions or comments about what I've said, or kind of trying to do a online holiday club in general?
my only thing, mine was the license, to be honest, and you've answered that one. My other thing was, when you do cake in a mug or a cup, do you have to find out first if they've all got like a microwave? I presume that was a microwave one. Do you have to find all that type of thing out first?
You would need
actually got one.
Yes, yeah, I know with the Scouts that's what they did. They made sure that and anyone that didn't, it was one of those things they just said well not to be part of that particular.
Right.
Everyone that came on to the Zoom call had it.
Right, because I've been doing Girls Brigade Zooms on a Thursday in our normal session, which has been really good. But we haven't attempted anything like a craft. We've done we played Girl Boy, and I did a quiz another week and things like that. But doing like a cake in a mug, I think a gang of girls would appreciate that. So
yeah, no,
finding that I'm gonna play on them and then see if we do the holiday thing as well.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, my son really enjoyed doing the cake in a cup. He loved it.
Cool.
Yeah, I did. I can send over the thing if you want for it, because I've got that from the Scoutly, just of the ingredients and the steps that they have to take.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, no problem.
Will we have access to this recording?
Yes, this will end up going up onto the onto the Facebook page and onto the YouTube. It'll be onto there as well, so you can link between the two. So within the next couple of days, I'll put it up onto that for anyone else that wants to see it.
So I take it that'll be with all those frames that we've just had as well.
Yes, it will. It'll include
so
the PowerPoint slide. Yep.
Fabulous.
I was just wondering if anybody like Scripture Union has adapted any of their material for online holiday clubs.
I know that the new one that's out this year, the science one, they're adapting for it being online because they're producing the online video clips and things for it. I went to some training last week that they were doing just on online holiday clubs as well, specifically around their new one, the science one. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they're releasing a lot of the online videos for that one. Any other thoughts or?
My other thing, are breakout rooms easy to do?
They are. The best thing that I've found is to trial it with some people first.
Yeah.
Just to get you more confident with it.
Okay.
So
I've never heard of them, to be honest, so it's something I need to go and find.
Yeah, again, on the link that I've put up has a specific booklet on breakout rooms for Zoom and how to do them. But yeah, it just means you can split groups up,
yeah,
which has been really good. We have done it particularly on our junior church on a Sunday morning. We play like follow the leader, where everyone has to do an action and the person has to work out who started the action. So if everyone starts clapping, somebody has to work out who the person is that started it. And so we put that person into their own breakout room, pick who's going to be the leader to start the actions, and then bring the person back. So it's like putting them out the room, an offline group. So it's a really fun kind of thing as well. And obviously in Zoom you can do Pictionary as well on the whiteboard, which always goes down quite well. It's just a free thing that's on Zoom as well, the whiteboard that you can obviously do Pictionary with. I'm sure some of you might have used, like, I know you talked about a quiz, Jane, but like Kahoot is an online quiz where you do it on your smartphone, so that the quiz comes up on Zoom, but then people answer it using their smartphones. And so again, that goes, obviously with like teenagers and stuff, that goes down quite well as a quiz. If they've
What's that called, Stephen?
Kahoot. It's Kahoot. It's a free quiz thing to sign up for. And then you can do that as well. So the question comes up on the screen with 4 options, and the 4 options appear on the smartphone, and they just click which one. It then tallies up the scores and shows who's in the lead. So it's a really good thing to use as well. Any other thoughts or comments or questions? I'm just going to find the URC page. It's got lots of Zoom games on it as well, because that's really good just for loads of different ideas. So I'm just going to quickly just try and find that, and then I'll just post it in the chat. So I'm just posting that onto the chat as well. What you can do is, at the bottom right of your screen, you'll see the 3 dots. And if you click on that, you can save the chat, which means you'll save the links so that you don't have to copy them down. So once this meeting closes, those links will be saved for you if you want, so that you're not having to rush to take them down. So if you see the little square with the 3 dots in the bottom right, click on that, click
Just
save
next
chat.
to file.
Sorry? Next to file.
It's next to file.
Yeah, thanks, Alison.
If I was to come up with something, could I run it past you and say, well, we're thinking of doing this, we're thinking of doing that, and you can say, oh, no, don't do that, that's awful. Or, yeah, you could do it, but do it this, or whatever.
I'm happy to help as much as I possibly can. So yeah, any questions or thoughts or anything like that, and if I'm available on those days, I'm more than happy to come and virtually support it.
Right. Only because we've never had, since I've been there, a Christian holiday club, because, like I say, we've had the council one, which is secular. We've never had a Christian holiday club, so this is all new. I've not even got anything to fall back on, or we did it like this last time, because there wasn't a last time. So it'd be handy if I could run it past you, and you could say
absolutely.
yay or no, whatever.
Yep.
Thank you.
Not a problem at all. Any other thoughts, comments, questions before we wrap things up?
I've been sort of talking with the team that usually, with the team that carries out the holiday club, because again, our holiday clubs involve the community and not mainly, the church children, although the church children are there. And it's just the feeling at the moment from people, this is parents of children who come to church and also those that help, is that they've been so confined and stuck in front of screens or doing worksheets. They feel the last thing they want to do now is more of the same. I know it's more in a fun way, with singing and games maybe, but they've been doing crafts, they've been doing art, they've been having a story, and I think with this easing of restriction, I just don't feel that we're going to be, proceeding with this. I don't really see that there's a need for it at this present time.
Yeah.
I mean, we are we are in contact with them, and we're sending things through weekly to them on WhatsApp, and it is my intention to contact all of the children. We've got about 30 or 40 on the roll, to stay in contact with them and leave them bags with craft things and puzzles and stories and such like. But we just feel that they do not want at this period in time more of the same.
Yeah, no, that may well be true for quite a lot of people, and all you can do is offer it, and if it's not something that works this year, then they know that you can hopefully something you can either run later in the year or next year. But yeah, no, there is a lot of burnout when it comes to screens and tech, particularly with teenagers, definitely, but I know with parents as well. There's just been so much.
I think a lot of parents have been struggling as well, haven't they? Because some have been working from home, some have been having to go out to work, they've had the children at home to homeschool, and now suddenly the holidays are looming. The children won't have their schoolwork, but they've got to entertain various ages.
Yeah.
And I just think they're going to be heading out at the moment for trip walks out or throughout the summer holiday. I don't think they want to be in front of computer screens. It's just the feedback I'm getting.
Yeah, no, and that's absolutely fair. If it's not something that's going to work for around Allerton at the moment, then understand. It might, you never know, it might become a different story after 4 weeks of summer holidays of not doing of being out. They might then want.
It might very well. And I think all the guidance you gave us at the beginning is really helpful, and if that's going to come through to us, it's certainly something we can perhaps pursue at another time.
I know you're saying that the kids are fed up being in screens and all that. What I find with the Girls Brigade session, the girls are just so excited to all be there in a friendly way again. That the hour that we do with them, they're just laughing and everything. It's a totally different, I know they're all in their own homes, but still an environment where they've all come together again. So it is totally different. It's not like doing their work and all that. It's fun. And they are really embracing it.
I have been in contact with them each week, and trying to sort of get them to contribute various, and it's just not happening. And I am not adept at this, sort of technology. I've only ever I've done 3 Zoom meetings, but I've always been invited in. I've never carried one out. And I feel that if I'm going to do this, then I need as much help as I can. And I know Stephen offered his help straight away. But if you're going to have, if you did get enough children, to do this, and you have to have breakout rooms and such like, then you're talking about multiple people. And I've got that my helpers either have not got internet, they have been a university lecturer and a school worker, and they've been in full time. They're climbing the walls basically, and one is working all the way through August anyway, marking. So they're not interested.
No.
Yeah.
It may be that there are other people in the congregation, though, who perhaps haven't been involved in children's work because maybe they just don't like physically being near kids for whatever reason. Some people don't. But it's a distance thing, isn't it? So people who are a bit tech savvy, somebody who has got an internet, it could be a dip in a toe in the water, youth work wise, so they can do it without actually having to. You can mute these kids. If they're screaming and whatever, you just mute them. So it may be that there are other people in the congregation. This might be a stepping stone for them into youth work.
Well,
You never
we
know.
are meeting. We've got 6 of them coming along tomorrow afternoon. I'll try them out.
It works in different ways, Ira, so you never know.
Yep.
I'll bribe them with some strawberries.
Well, I'll be round.
Anything else before we wrap things up? So as I said, this video will be up within the next couple of days up onto the Mersey Synod Facebook page, and it'll be up onto the Mersey YouTube page as well. So if you want to go back and look at anything on there, I can send out the PowerPoint slides as well. I'll email that out to yourself anyway, so that you've got that, and that's fine. But thank you very much for coming. Hopefully that's been helpful. And if you do end up running anything, do let me know, and I'll support it however I can.
Thank you for all the hard
Help
work.
me!
Thank you. Oh, that's great,
Thanks very
Stephen. So
much.
thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Take care.
Bye, Ira.